Have you ever felt like your time and energy are slipping away, drained by people and obligations that no longer bring you joy? At 65, I've made a choice that might surprise you. I've decided to step back from certain neighbors and even family members. Why? Because I've realized that protecting my peace, choosing solitude, and being selective with relationships are not just acts of self-care. They're essential for living a truly fulfilling life. In this video, we'll explore why it's okay to set boundaries, let go of toxic relationships, and prioritize your mental and emotional well-being, even if it means redefining what family or friendship looks like. We'll discuss the profound lessons that come with age, the gift of solitude, and the power of surrounding yourself with only those who truly uplift and nurture your soul. Stay with me until the end, and you'll discover practical ways to protect your peace, the surprising joys of solitude, and how to embrace this stage of life with clarity, strength, and intention. Whether you're looking to simplify your relationships, create more meaningful connections, or reclaim your time and energy, this video will offer you the wisdom and inspiration to live life on your terms. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the demands of others or unsure about how to prioritize yourself, this video is for you. Let's dive in and discover how to create a life filled with joy, peace, and authenticity, one intentional choice at a time. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Time becomes more precious at 65. At 65, time takes on a new, sacred meaning. It's no longer just a concept, it's something to be cherished, held close to your heart like a precious gem you can't afford to lose. With every passing year, I've learned that time isn't endless, and that realization is both liberating and sobering. There's a profound clarity that comes with age, a quiet knowing that you've lived enough to understand what truly matters. The urgency to make the most of every moment now mixes seamlessly with a peaceful acceptance that I can't control everything. At 65, I no longer take time for granted, nor do I waste it on things or people that don't align with my values. I have come to realize that the time I once so freely offered to every request, obligation, and fleeting interaction was a gift I didn't always want to give. How many years did I spend attending to the demands of others, only to feel drained and unappreciated in return? How many hours slipped through my fingers, lost to shallow conversations with people who never truly understood my soul, or to events that, in hindsight, held no significance? At 65, I know that time is more than just a resource. It is the core of my being. How I spend it now is the deciding factor in my peace, my happiness, and my sense of fulfillment. I've learned to be mindful, to choose wisely, and to set boundaries in ways that protect my energy and well-being. When I look back on those earlier years, I can't help but wonder how much of my precious time I wasted out of a sense of duty or misplaced guilt. The endless favors for neighbors who never once offered to help in return, the family gatherings where the air felt thick with unspoken tension rather than love and warmth, the countless acquaintances who filled the silence but never truly saw me, they were all drains on my time, though I didn't realize it back then. Now, I see it so clearly, and I realize the heavy price I paid for those moments. Now, at 65, life has taught me something invaluable. Not all relationships are worth the investment of my time. Some people are gifts in my life, enriching my spirit and adding warmth to my days. Others, however, take without ever giving back, and I've learned to recognize them for what they are. These lessons have changed the way I approach every interaction, every day. There's a deep understanding now, a peace that comes with knowing that time, once gone, can never be reclaimed. So, I choose to spend it more wisely. I hold it close, like a precious gift, and I make sure that every moment counts. Boundaries are essential. As I grow older, I've come to realize that setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It's an act of profound self-love and respect. There was a time when I felt obligated to say yes to every invitation, to every request, regardless of how it made me feel. I thought I had to be everywhere, do everything, and please everyone. But as I've learned, saying no is necessary, not just for my well-being, but for my sanity. It's the act of recognizing that my energy is precious and should be spent wisely, not just on the demands and expectations of others. Declining an invitation to a gathering where I know I'll leave feeling drained or stepping away from a conversation that reeks of negativity isn't about shutting others out or isolating myself. It's about honoring the boundaries that I've finally learned to set. Boundaries that protect my peace and well-being. These moments of solitude, of choosing myself, are acts of self-preservation. I've realized that sometimes, stepping back isn't just an option, it's a necessity. What I've come to cherish more than anything is the beauty of slowing down. There's a sacredness in taking time to savor the small, quiet moments. A quiet morning with a warm cup of coffee, the soft rustling of leaves as the sunlight dances through them, or the peacefulness of simply being still and sitting with my thoughts. These moments were once fleeting, easily lost in the rush of daily life, but now they've become the fabric of my days. They are the essence of my happiness and fulfillment. I now understand that these are the moments that truly matter, the ones that nurture my soul and remind me of the beauty that exists in simplicity. Time, I've learned, is far richer when it's spent intentionally. There's a sense of peace and calm that comes with not being caught up in the constant pull to do more or to be more for others. It's liberating to let go of the pressure to meet everyone else's expectations. And with that peace comes a profound sense of gratitude. I feel deeply grateful for the time I still have, for the ability to take a step back and reflect, to appreciate the present moment, and to honor the life I've lived and continue to live. In the quiet of these moments, I realize how precious they are, how they are not to be rushed or taken for granted. Time spent with myself, with the simple joys of life, is what fills my heart with contentment. It's in these moments that I feel whole, deeply connected to who I am, and at peace with the path I'm walking. The truth about neighbors. At 65, I've come to a profound understanding that proximity doesn't equal connection. Living near someone doesn't necessarily mean living with them, and that realization has changed the way I view my neighbors. They're like fellow travelers on the same road, sharing the same seasons and the same view from their windows. Yet there's often a gulf between us that feels insurmountable. Despite the physical closeness, there are times when I feel more isolated in their presence than when I'm by myself. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I used to believe that being a good neighbor meant saying yes to every request, lending a hand at every opportunity, and always keeping my door open to anyone who needed me. I thought that being a part of the community required constant engagement and a perpetual willingness to chat, help, or be involved. But with time, my perspective has evolved, and I've begun to notice the cracks in that idealized image. The truth is, not every neighbor respects boundaries. And unfortunately, not every interaction leaves me feeling energized or valued. Some neighbors seem to thrive on gossip, turning the smallest events into dramatic tales that ripple through the community, casting judgment and planting seeds of unnecessary speculation. It's exhausting to constantly be the subject of these discussions, whether I'm involved directly or simply caught in the undertow. Then some feel entitled to my time, and expect me to drop everything when they knock on my door, or worse, to prioritize their needs above my own. I found myself wondering, why am I so readily available to others, yet so unwilling to make the same commitment to myself? At 65, I simply don't have the energy, or the inclination, to engage in these dynamics anymore. I've come to realize that my peace, my boundaries, and my time are sacred. I no longer feel compelled to say yes out of guilt or obligation. The truth is, there's an overwhelming sense of freedom that comes with recognizing that not every relationship needs to be defined by proximity, and not every neighbor deserves my time or emotional energy. As I've grown older, I've learned that living with boundaries isn't selfish, it's a form of self-respect. I've discovered the immense value of solitude and quiet reflection, and how much more fulfilling it is to nurture relationships that are deep, meaningful, and reciprocal. I've learned that it's okay to distance myself from those whose presence only feels draining, and that doing so doesn't diminish my worth as a neighbor or a person. In fact, it affirms my commitment to protecting my well-being, something that, at 65, feels more essential than ever before. In the end, it's not about how close we live to others, but about the quality of those connections. I've learned to cherish the relationships that bring me joy, peace, and mutual respect, and to let go of the ones that don't. Living near someone may be inevitable, but living with them, truly sharing your heart and soul, is a choice I'm learning to make more wisely as I grow older. Family isn't always easy. As I look back on my life at 65, I've come to realize that family isn't always the simple, unwavering source of love and support I once believed it to be. The hardest truth I've had to accept is that, while family can be a source of profound love, it can also be one of the most difficult and painful aspects of life. Blood ties don't guarantee understanding, respect, or even kindness, and that's something I've had to grapple with over the years. It's been a journey of both heartbreak and growth, one that I never could have anticipated when I was younger. When I was a child, I was taught that family always came first, that no matter the situation, no matter the cost, the family bond was sacred. I clung to that belief for many years, thinking that if I just worked hard enough at it, if I gave enough of myself, I could maintain those bonds and make everything work. I thought that if I sacrificed my peace and my own needs, it was my duty to hold everything together. The older I get, however, the more I've come to understand how much that belief, though well-intentioned, has cost me. Time, with all its wisdom, has a way of revealing the complexity of relationships that I once believed to be simple. Family gatherings, those moments that should have been filled with laughter, love, and shared memories, often turned into battlegrounds for old wounds. Arguments that were buried years ago resurfaced, and rather than finding solace in the presence of my loved ones, I found myself feeling drained, stressed, and even resentful. Calls, which should have been comforting, became exercises in appeasing others, absorbing their criticisms and complaints, often leaving me feeling like I had given more than I had to give. Somewhere along the way, I started to realize how much of myself I was sacrificing. My energy, my time, my peace, just to uphold relationships that weren't founded on mutual respect or care. It was as though I had been carrying a weight for years, not knowing how heavy it was until I allowed myself to finally put it down. It's taken me a long time to come to terms with the fact that family, like any other relationship, is messy, complicated, and sometimes painful. At 65, I've learned that it's okay to let go of the idealized version of family that I once held so tightly. I've learned that it's not only acceptable but necessary to protect my own emotional and mental well-being, even if that means redefining what family means to me. There's no shame in setting boundaries or walking away from toxic relationships, no matter how deeply rooted they are in my life. Doing so has allowed me to embrace a version of family that's far more authentic and nourishing than the one I was trying to hold on to for so long. One of the greatest gifts of aging is the clarity it brings. With each passing year, I feel more and more liberated from the pressure to please everyone, from the relentless chase for approval that once defined so much of my actions. I no longer feel the weight of unrealistic expectations hanging over me, nor do I feel obligated to maintain relationships that leave me feeling empty or unappreciated. Instead, I've learned to focus on the connections that truly matter, the ones that nourish my soul, the ones that bring me peace and joy, whether they come from family, from friends, or from within myself. I've found that by letting go of the need to please others, I've given myself the space to nurture the relationships that truly matter, and in doing so, I've discovered a peace that I never thought possible. Family isn't always easy, but it's through these challenges that we learn the most important lessons of all: resilience, forgiveness, and perhaps most importantly, self-respect. I've learned that real love isn't about obligation or duty. It's about genuine connection, mutual care, and understanding. At this stage of my life, I've learned to carry those lessons forward, using them to create a life that's rich with love, not because I have to, but because I choose to. And that, I believe, is the truest, most meaningful definition of family. The joy of solitude. At 65, I've come to realize something profoundly important. Solitude is not something to fear. It's a precious gift, a space of peace, clarity, and personal reflection. In my younger years, I always viewed being alone as a sign of loneliness, something to be avoided at all costs. Society, with its relentless noise, expectations, and pressures, convinced me that I needed to be constantly surrounded by others to be valued, to feel important, or even to prove my worth. The notion of solitude was shrouded in an unspoken stigma, one that carried with it a sense of sadness, even failure. But now, with the wisdom that comes with age, I see things from an entirely different perspective. Solitude is not a sign of failure or emptiness. It's a sanctuary, one I now embrace and treasure deeply. As the years have passed, I've come to understand that solitude is not something that happens to me, nor something that is forced upon me. It is a choice, a conscious decision that I make for the sake of my well-being. It's a choice that allows me to reclaim my time, my energy, and most importantly, my sense of self. I am no longer trying to please others or fit into the demands of society. I've learned that peace is not found in the hustle and bustle of life, nor the frantic pursuit of goals set by external pressures. True peace comes from within. It's cultivated in the quiet moments, in the space where there are no expectations, no judgments, and no need to perform. It is in this sacred silence that I reconnect with my truest essence, where I can be fully present with myself and the world around me. When I was younger, I didn't know how to appreciate solitude. I was caught up in the whirlwind of daily life, work, family, friends, responsibilities. It felt like I was always being pulled in 100 different directions, constantly giving pieces of myself away. I didn't take the time to ask myself what I truly wanted or needed. I was so focused on the expectations placed upon me that I never stopped to consider my desires, my dreams, or my sense of fulfillment. There was always something else to do, someone else to take care of, and I lost sight of myself in the process. It was only with age that I began to realize how essential solitude is for self-care, inner peace, and true self-discovery. In the past, I might have seen solitude as a luxury I couldn't afford. It seemed like a rare indulgence, something reserved for the privileged few. Or worse yet, I saw it as something to avoid, something that would force me to confront my thoughts and emotions, thoughts that I had buried under layers of distraction. But as I grew older, I began to see the beauty and necessity of solitude. I began to understand that the time I spent alone was not time wasted. It was time spent in self-reflection, time spent understanding who I truly am, and time spent reconnecting with the deepest parts of myself that I had long ignored or overlooked. It was in these moments of solitude that I found the courage to face my truths, to heal from past hurts, and to embrace the parts of myself that I had been too afraid to acknowledge. There is a kind of peace in solitude that I had never known before. I find joy in the simplest of moments. Moments that would have seemed insignificant in the past but now feel like treasures. A quiet morning, sitting with a cup of tea, watching the world slowly come to life. The warmth of the tea in my hands, the soft sunlight filtering through the window, and the stillness of the house around me. It's in those moments that I can truly hear myself think, without the constant hum of distractions or the pull of obligations. I am simply there, in the present moment, with myself, and it is enough. I also find peace in my garden, where I tend to my plants and watch as they grow as if they too are reflecting the growth within me. The rustle of the leaves in the wind, the feel of the earth between my fingers, and the scent of blooming flowers, they are all reminders of the beauty that can be found in simplicity, in stillness, in quiet connection with nature. There's no rush, no sense of urgency, only the soft rhythm of life unfolding. It is here that I feel most at home, most at peace, and most connected to the world around me. Music also plays a role in these solitary moments. I find myself drawn to certain songs, ones that have a deep emotional resonance, songs that bring back memories of my youth, of times long past. The soft hum of a familiar melody playing in the background is like a comforting companion, reminding me that I am not truly alone. I can lose myself in the music, in the memories it evokes, and in the quiet thoughts that come with it. There is something deeply comforting about these moments of reflection, about allowing myself to just be, without judgment or expectation. The beauty of solitude, I've come to realize, lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require me to be anything other than who I am. It doesn't demand that I prove myself or fulfill anyone's expectations. It simply allows me to exist, to be present with my thoughts, emotions, and desires. In solitude, I find freedom. The freedom to be myself without the need for validation, the freedom to explore the depths of my own heart and mind. I've come to cherish the quiet, because it is in the quiet that I hear the whispers of my soul, telling me what I truly need, what I truly desire, and who I truly am. This journey into solitude has been one of self-discovery, healing, and growth. It has taught me that peace is not something that can be found in external accomplishments or recognition. It is not something that can be measured by the number of people in your life or the accolades you receive. True peace comes from within. It comes from learning to be content with who you are, to embrace the quiet moments, and to find joy in the simplicity of life. Solitude has given me the space to heal, to reflect, and to grow. It has taught me to be kinder to myself, to permit myself to rest, and to savor the quiet moments of my day. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As I move forward in life, I no longer fear solitude. I embrace it. I seek it out. It is no longer a sign of loneliness or isolation. It is a sanctuary, a place of refuge, a space where I can be fully myself. And in that space, I have found peace. Deep, abiding peace. The kind of peace that fills your heart and soul and reminds you that you are enough, just as you are. Selective relationships are healthier. As I've grown older, I've come to embrace a profound truth that has slowly but surely transformed my approach to relationships. The power of choice. I no longer feel the weight of obligation, nor the need to cling to relationships because of memories or societal expectations. In the past, I would have held on to connections simply because it was what I thought I was supposed to do, because I felt it was my duty as a friend, a family member, or a neighbor. But now, I understand that the quality of relationships matters far more than the quantity. I've learned that the strength of the few close bonds I've cultivated is infinitely more rewarding than trying to maintain a vast network of superficial connections. When I was younger, I constantly felt the need to be everything to everyone. I tried to be the perfect friend, always there for the people I cared about, offering my support and time no matter how stretched thin I was. I also felt an unspoken obligation to be a reliable family member, someone who always stepped in when others needed help. On top of all that, I wanted to be a sociable neighbor who was involved in community events and always had time for a chat. I wore so many hats, trying to meet everyone's expectations, hoping to be seen as the person who could always be counted on. But in truth, I didn't realize how deeply this desire to please others was depleting me. There were days when I would go to bed feeling utterly exhausted, physically drained, mentally overwhelmed, emotionally spent, and yet I still felt unsatisfied. I gave so much of myself to others, but I was left with so little for myself. It was a paradox I couldn't quite understand. I was so busy being there for everyone else, but I was losing touch with who I was and what I needed. I had become so entangled in fulfilling the roles that others expected me to play that I stopped asking myself what truly brought me joy and fulfillment. I gave and gave, but I never received the kind of emotional nourishment I longed for. Now, as time has passed, I see things much more clearly. I've learned that not all connections are worth the energy it takes to maintain them. This might sound harsh, but it's the truth, and in embracing this, I've found a sense of freedom that I never knew was possible. I don't feel the need to keep people in my life just because they've been around for years, or because I feel guilty about stepping away. I've come to understand that real relationships should be mutually nourishing. They should add to your life, not drain it. And as hard as it may be to let go of certain connections, I've realized that it's necessary for my well-being. I'm not saying that every relationship should be discarded at the first sign of difficulty, but I've learned to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving its purpose, when it has become toxic, one-sided, or emotionally exhausting. It's taken years of self-reflection to realize that I deserve relationships that are not only fulfilling but that honor my boundaries and my time. The energy I put into relationships should be returned, in some form, whether through support, understanding, love, or shared experiences. I've learned to trust my instincts more than ever before, and when I do, I'm always guided toward emotionally intelligent people who bring out the best in me and who allow me to show up as my authentic self. The more I let go of superficial connections, the more I've been able to cultivate deep, meaningful relationships with those who truly matter. These are the people who inspire me to be better, who help me grow, who understand the quiet moments and the loud ones, who love me not despite my flaws, but because of them. I've found that it's the quality of the relationship, not the number of people in my life, that brings the most joy. The few who have stuck by me, who have nurtured the bond we share, are the ones I hold closest to my heart. With them, there is no pretense, just an unspoken connection that transcends time and circumstance. As I continue on this journey, I've also come to appreciate the value of solitude. Letting go of people who no longer serve my life has made room for me to get to know myself again. I've learned to find peace and joy in my own company, something I never fully understood when I was younger. There's a sense of freedom in solitude, a freedom that allows me to rest, recharge, and focus on what truly matters to me. I no longer feel the pressure to constantly be around others or to fill my time with social obligations. I can now enjoy the quiet moments, the simple pleasures of life that I once overlooked in my quest to meet everyone's expectations. I've also realized that this selective approach to relationships isn't about shutting myself off from the world or becoming reclusive. It's about being intentional with my time and energy, making sure that the relationships I nurture align with who I am today and who I want to become. I no longer feel guilty for not attending every social gathering or for not picking up the phone every time someone calls. I've learned to say no, and in doing so, I've learned to say yes to the things and people that truly matter. My relationships are fewer now, but they are richer, more authentic, and more meaningful than ever before. Looking back, I can see how far I've come. And though I'll always have a soft spot for the people who have been a part of my life, I've learned to embrace the idea that not every relationship needs to last forever. Some people come into your life for a season, and when that season is over, it's okay to let them go. Sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do, for both them and yourself. And with each new chapter, I continue to choose relationships that bring joy, balance, and growth into my life. For me, that's the essence of living authentically and fully. Protecting your peace. At 65, I've come to realize that protecting my peace is not just a choice. It is my life's most profound guiding principle. It's a commitment to myself, a promise that I will no longer allow the world's expectations, demands, or pressures to dictate my emotional state. I've walked through enough of life's highs and lows to understand that peace, true inner peace, is the most precious gift I can give myself. And now, I guard it fiercely, with a sense of urgency and a quiet, unwavering conviction. This peace is the foundation of everything, the bedrock of a good life, and nothing, absolutely nothing, is worth compromising it for. Life has taught me that peace doesn't just happen, especially not in a world where the noise, distractions, and chaos seem endless. It's not something you simply stumble upon or inherit with age. No, peace is something you must cultivate, something you have to fiercely protect, day in and day out. It's the practice of intentional living, of setting boundaries, and of making conscious choices about who you allow into your life, what you expose yourself to, and how you spend your time and energy. It's a choice to prioritize the things that nourish your soul over the things that drain your spirit. It is a daily decision to protect your mental, emotional, and physical health above all else, even when it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. In my younger years, I didn't understand the importance of guarding my peace. I spent so much time trying to please others, fulfilling their expectations, and pushing myself to meet demands that weren't even mine. I thought that being good meant saying yes to everything, being there for everyone, and constantly doing for others. But with age comes wisdom, and what I've learned is that my peace is not for sale. It cannot be bartered away for anyone's approval or for the false sense of obligation that society often imposes on us. I've come to understand that it's okay to say no. It's more than okay, it's necessary. Protecting my peace often means saying no to things, people, and situations that threaten to disrupt my sense of calm. It's about setting clear boundaries, no matter how uncomfortable that may make others. I've learned that saying no is not selfish, it is an act of self-preservation. No to invitations that feel more like obligations than joys. I no longer attend gatherings or events simply out of a sense of duty. If the event doesn't bring me joy or align with my values, I decline. It's not that I don't care about the people involved. I do. But I've learned that it's okay to take care of myself first. My time is valuable, and my peace is even more so. I refuse to spend my time on anything that doesn't contribute positively to my well-being. No to conversations that spiral into negativity, gossip, or drama. I don't need that kind of energy in my life anymore. It's exhausting, draining, and ultimately toxic. I've walked away from discussions that only serve to stir up conflict or anxiety. I've stopped engaging in the type of small talk that doesn't elevate my spirit, and I've learned to say, I'm not comfortable with this conversation, or I'd prefer not to engage in that kind of talk. The more I protect my peace, the more I realize that not every conversation deserves my energy or attention. And no to people who take more than they give. This one has been one of the hardest lessons for me. I've always been the kind of person who tries to see the best in everyone, the kind who believes that everyone deserves a chance. But what I've realized is that some people can take and take, without ever offering anything back. I've learned to recognize these relationships and to step away from them. It's not that I don't love or care for these people, but I've come to understand that my energy, my time, and my mental space are precious. And if a relationship is constantly draining me, it's not a healthy one, no matter how much I care. I no longer feel guilty for distancing myself from people who aren't bringing positivity into my life. I now see it as an act of self-love. Protecting my peace also means stepping away from situations that threaten my emotional or mental health, even if it's uncomfortable or difficult. For years, I stayed in toxic situations, hoping things would change, thinking that if I just tried harder, things would improve. But now I understand that some things, some situations, are simply not worth the energy. Walking away from them is not a failure. It's a victory. It's a victory for my well-being, my emotional health, and my future happiness. I no longer stay in places or with people who feel like they are diminishing my sense of self-worth. It doesn't matter if the people involved are family, friends, or colleagues. If being around them compromises my peace, I choose to step away. That's not to say I don't care about these people. I do. But I've come to realize that I can love someone from a distance, without subjecting myself to unnecessary turmoil or stress. As I've grown older, I've come to cherish my peace more deeply than I ever could have imagined. I now savor the quiet moments, the stillness that comes with solitude, and the deep sense of contentment that fills my heart when I know I am in control of my peace. There's something so profound about the freedom that comes with letting go of everything that no longer serves you, of everything that steals your joy, your energy, or your sense of self. I've come to see that peace is not just the absence of conflict. It's the presence of joy, clarity, and a deep sense of fulfillment. It's the ability to wake up in the morning and feel grateful for the life you've created, for the boundaries you've set, and for the peace you've cultivated. It's an inner calm that no one can take away from you. I've also learned that the more I protect my peace, the more I become attuned to what truly matters. I find joy in the simple things. Sipping my coffee on a quiet morning, reading a book that sparks my curiosity, enjoying a long walk in nature, or sharing meaningful conversations with loved ones. These moments, which once seemed so small, are now some of the most precious gifts in my life. They remind me that peace doesn't have to be grandiose. It's often found in the quiet, everyday moments that we so often overlook. So now, I make it my mission to protect my peace with everything I've got. I choose my time, my energy, and my relationships carefully. I do not allow anyone or anything to disturb the calm I've worked so hard to cultivate. And when life tries to throw its chaos my way, I stand firm in my decision to keep my peace intact. It is my most valuable possession, and I will do whatever it takes to protect it, because, in the end, my peace is everything. A final thought. Choosing to step away from certain neighbors or even relatives isn't something I do out of bitterness or spite. It's not about holding onto old grudges or letting anger take root. No, it's far deeper than that. It's about honoring my self-respect, acknowledging my emotional needs, and most importantly, recognizing what is truly necessary for me to live a happy, fulfilling, and peaceful life. As I reflect on my 65 years, I've come to understand that happiness doesn't come from chasing after approval or accumulating a never-ending list of obligations. Rather, it comes from simplicity. It comes from fewer conflicts, fewer demands, and more moments where I can be fully present, doing what I love, with those who truly see me and value me for who I am. I didn't come to this realization easily. It's been a gradual journey, one that's been shaped by my own experiences, both the beautiful and the painful. The choices I make now, in my older age, are rooted in the lessons I've learned over the years. I've realized that happiness, at this stage of life, doesn't come from seeking approval from everyone around me or trying to please others at my own expense. It comes from embracing the simplicity of life. The peace of not overcommitting, of not being pulled in 100 different directions by people who, perhaps unknowingly, take more from you than they give. I've learned that I no longer have the energy to invest in relationships that drain me or cause unnecessary stress. And that's okay. It's more than okay. It's essential. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. At 65, I know that my time is precious. The time I have left is far more valuable than it ever was before. I've earned the right to protect my peace, to be selective about who I spend my time with, and to focus on nurturing the relationships that truly matter. I cherish the people who bring positivity into my life, those who lift me with their kindness and understanding. These are the relationships I nourish, and in return, I feel fulfilled and supported. But this process of simplifying my life has not been without its challenges. Letting go of certain relationships, even if they're family or longtime friends, is never easy. There's often a deep emotional pull to maintain those connections, to keep up appearances, to try and hold on to the past. But I've learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to create boundaries and stick to them. It's not about being cold or uncaring. It's about preserving your mental and emotional well-being. It's about recognizing that your needs are just as important as anyone else's and that prioritizing your peace is not selfish. It's a form of self-care. If you find yourself, like me, making these difficult choices, choosing solitude, being more selective about your relationships, or even just carving out time for yourself, I want you to know that you are not alone in this journey. It's not selfish to want a life that brings you peace, joy, and fulfillment. It's one of the most compassionate acts you can offer yourself. At this point in life, we've seen enough of the world to know what truly matters, and we've learned that our time is not unlimited. We have earned the right to choose what adds value to our lives and to release what doesn't. Take care of yourself, my friends. Remember, it's never too late to make these changes and put your happiness and well-being at the top of your priorities. It doesn't matter if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Every day is a new opportunity to embrace what brings you peace and joy. The beauty of aging is that we become more attuned to our needs, less willing to compromise, and more ready to embrace life as it comes, without the burden of trying to fit into everyone else's expectations. The lessons we've learned are not just for us, they're for all of us. Life is short, and it's meant to be lived fully and authentically. I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on your own life, and on the relationships and choices that fill your days. What have you learned that's helped you grow? What will you choose to apply in your own life moving forward? These reflections, these lessons, are not just mine. They are universal truths that can guide all of us toward a life that is not only longer but richer, deeper, and more meaningful. Let's continue to support one another as we embrace this journey toward authenticity, peace, and true fulfillment. We deserve it. You deserve it. As we wrap up today's reflection, I want to leave you with a question. What have you learned from everything we've discussed so far? Life has so much to offer, and it's through these lessons, big and small, that we grow and transform. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you plan to put into practice in your own life? Feel free to share it with me and others in the comments below. Your insights might be just the inspiration someone else needs. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your thoughts and comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more meaningful content like this. Your support means the world, and together, we can continue this journey of growth, self-care, and living authentically. Take care, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.